very successful in the Carrera Cup and had some good runs here at Macau himself, interviewing Joel Eriksson, runner-up in the F3 race last year, but now in GTs, and interestingly enough with the BMW team, of course, who won this race with Augusto Farfus. Absolute Racing have brought some very, very good drivers. Kevin Estre, there he is, getting ready to race. He's been in Asia now for a couple of weeks. He was racing in Shanghai in the World Endurance Championship, again for Porsche, to much success. But it hasn't been an easy weekend for Kevin, has it?
No, it's not been straightforward, and starting this race halfway through the grid, if you like, on the outside of row 4, there's a fair bit of work to be done for that Porsche.
Charles Wirtz getting ready. Everybody's trying to stay cool. They've all got the cooling. Last minute chats, got the phone out. A lot of Blancpain drivers here, both from the European series and the Asian series. So, like I said, GT's growing exponentially, both worldwide and certainly in this region.
That was Jean-Carl Vernet down there on the grid, wasn't
it? Yes, it was, yeah.
Having a word, fresh from a podium in the amazing feature race that we've had for World Touring Cars just now here at Macau.
Well, they're all interconnected, this lot, aren't they? And talking of interconnected, we've got 2 Swiss drivers, one Mortara, this man, Imperatori.
Alex Imperatori just having a quick word with the team before they are bolted into what's going to be a microwave oven for 18 laps, because it's the heat of the day now, isn't it?
Do you stop it halfway through and turn over or not?
I bet they wish they could.
Christopher Haas in the Phoenix Racing entry for Audi. Has had a good career and a good run here, and a really good successful year. Unless we forget, these are the very best GT drivers in the world. We're talking Daytona winners, we're talking 24 Hours of Nürburgring, we're talking, well, Le Mans winners here. Certainly World Touring Car champions, and certainly GT Cup winners, World Cup winners.
Speaking of champions, yeah.
Augusto Farfus won this race last year, and he's back to defend his title, but he's been a bit of a struggle for him, but he's in a good position, and you've got a feeling in your water, don't you?
He had a supreme race yesterday, and because these cars are so big, if you're quick off the line, if you've got quick straight line speed, you can be very difficult to pass. At the start of the race yesterday, started in 12th place, not really with the overall pace that they would have wanted, but finished up 4th, just off the podium.
He can't cut past Bamber or Vantor at the start, can he?
He could maintain his crown here, and BMW could maintain their crown as well.
Laurent Vantor has an argument with you on that one, and here he is getting ready. He's going to prove you wrong as he tightens those belts. He must have heard you, because he's tightening them a little bit harder now to go even faster. But the Porsches have been the team to watch this weekend. They've come here many times before and have been a weak entry compared to the domination that they've had as a manufacturer, but not this year. Vantor and Bamber have been superb. And the Kiwi ready to go for another win. And he starts second on the grid. Here he is, Earl Bamber, the lean figure, the tall figure of Earl the Pearl, on the Pearl River Estuary.
On the outside of the front row of the grid, Augusto Farfus just behind.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The start is going to be key.
Critical.
Well, because these cars are so big and the drivers are so good. Rafael Marchiello put on a fantastic performance yesterday to win the race, the qualification race that is, and that's why he starts pole position in the Mercedes-AMG Team Group M racing car. Marchiello yet to have a win at Macau.
It may come today. He's been in Formula 3 in the Grand Prix, and now he's in a Mercedes in the GT World Cup.
Well,
supreme in qualifying.
I can hear Titchmarsh in the back of my head saying, well, he did win yesterday, that's a win.
Yeah, that's a win.
So he has. Okay. Earl Bamber, second place, and Laurent Vantor, third. So it's going to be interesting because we've got Mercedes, followed by 2 Porsches, and then the first of the BMWs. Then it's Christopher Haas in the Audi, first of the Audi R8 LMSs. And that's how they finished yesterday. Let's talk about yesterday's race while we've been through the grid. There were those that didn't finish, and that included Eduardo Mortara and Maro Engel. You've already mentioned that. Wei Chen, David Chen didn't finish 2. He spun round in the 66. Kelvin van der Linde also a non-finisher.
Stefan Rattel down there on the grid, responsible for the growth of endurance racing, GT racing around the world. The SRO organisation, the Stefan Rattel organisation, doing so much for GT racing globally. Fantastic.
I asked Matthew Marsh if he was going for the Ivan Muller look when I saw him the other day. Similar.
So pick your winner.
Beard.
Pick your winner.
Yes. Well, you've picked yours.
Yep.
You're going for Farfus. I'm going for Bamba.
I think Farfus will retain his crown.
Bamba showed enough yesterday for me to at least give me the impression that he could go for one more, but didn't want to risk it yesterday. Here is your grid then. Marcello and Bamba on the front row. Then it's Van Tor and Farfus. What a great foursome to lead the GT
It's beautiful, isn't it? What a lineup.
Get any better than that.
What a
the
lineup.
First 2 rows. Absolutely superb. Last year's winner right in the thick of it, and previous winners as well. Then further down, Christopher Haas, Imperatori of Switzerland in the Absolute Racing entry. Charles Wirtz and Kevin Estra in the Absolute Racing entry on row 4. Then a little further down, the 91 of Joel Eriksson, Adley Fong. 2 very hard chargers here.
And worth pointing out, 1 BMW to win the World Cup last year. They've brought 2 this year.
Yes. So Joel Eriksson will play his part if he can come through, and he too is looking for a very quick start. So will this man, Kelvin van der Linde. He was really, really sharp, and we know what Eduardo Mortara, he is a missile around this circuit, and he's probably a little bit miffed and probably a little bit bruised up. But first of all, Maro Engel, with a point to prove.
We've got 3 to watch coming through. Maro Engel, Dries van Toor and Eduardo Mortara. They can do some damage off the start.
And I would add Kevin van der Linde to that.
You're right.
Kelvin van der Linde.
You're right.
So I'm going to keep you on that watch, because I know there's going to be plenty at the front to worry about.
I promise I'll be watching.
Okay, good. Well, you don't want to miss this, because this could be another cracking GT race. 18 laps, the finale for these GTs here. The crowd in front of us here in the grandstands, all on their feet. Everybody's got their phone out to take a picture of these wonderful missiles. We'll have a rolling start. So we go off on the warm-up lap. Maro Engel. Now, will he start from the pit lane and come to the back of the grid? And yeah, he's not out there at the moment. So we get the tyres up to temperature as they follow the BMW safety car. On board with the 66, looking for a result out of today.
Oh yeah,
Yan Chen.
He will start that's the decision of the stewards. Maro Engel has to start from the pit lane.
Regardless.
Yeah.
So in other words, yeah, it's a rolling start, but he really does get a penalty because he'll be the standing still as they go past, and so he's going to have a lot of work to do. But having said that, it shouldn't be long before he gets onto the tail end, at least, of the back markers and starts to hopefully side his way through, certainly for Mercedes blushes. But this is a championship that is about the drivers. Yes, we've mentioned them all, and they're all star-studded in terms of their ability and their accomplishments. Perfect temperature to go racing, as you can see. And a beautiful day here at Macau. A full crowd in each and every grandstand and perching over every hotel room and apartment complex. Fantastic atmosphere here as the cars literally echo through the high streets of Macau.
It is a glorious noise, Johnny. You're right to make that point. The sound just as the cars left the grid was beautiful.
And if you're not at the Macau Grand Prix, if you manage to be sort of going through town, you feel like you need to be there to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's been that way for many a year. And somehow the locals put up with this disruption. But to be honest, they cope with it so well because the streets open at night and it really doesn't affect everyday life here at Macau. It's a very industrious city. This SAR, Special Administrative region. And we're about to get underway. Everybody checking the conditions of the track. Luckily, we haven't had too many disruptions today in terms of debris on track or barriers having to be rebuilt. It's been a very clean day of racing. That's good news. Certainly, if I were on the formation lap now coming through police, I'd be checking the corners and seeing what was there, but there's really nothing that I can report on. Like I said, the main story here was Maro Engel getting that penalty, but to be fair, it was a shame because he certainly wasn't trying to do anything untoward, just got unlucky and then took his teammate out. But rules are rules, and Maro will accept it, I'm sure. A two-time champion of this particular event and seemingly always on the podium. He may miss out today though. If he gets on the podium today, well, that would be pretty impressive. Marciello from Italy, Bamba from New Zealand, Vantor, the Belgian, Farfus, of course, the champion from Sao Paulo, Brazil, Christopher Haas in the first of the Audis. This a battle for the marks. The German marks, all of them on display. And it's Mercedes leading 2 Porsches, 1 BMW, and an Audi, a Porsche, and an Audi. That's your top 7. And the top 8 includes Kevin Estre in the other Porsche. 912 his number. Quite rightly, a good choice. 8th position. Here they come, slowly but surely. A monstrous sight with thousands of horsepower ready to unleash itself here at the mighty Macau. Marciello and Bamba will lead them through, but Marciello now controls this race. He'll accelerate away when the green flag and the green lights go on. Away they go! And a good start from Marciello, but a better start from Vantor by the looks of things. Bamba didn't get away as well. Farfus, does he do what you said? He's coming for it. He's certainly looking at it. He's very close to the Porsche. In 4th position right now, Farfus, as they head down towards Lisboa. Good start from Haas as well, but Farfus can't get past the Porsche. And it's going to be Marciello who leads them into Lisboa for the first time. Oh, and a few cars getting slightly awry there. Mortaris trying to come through. He made up a couple of places. And a good clean start, a really good clean start. And it is Vantor who does get 2nd place. I was right there. He got a much better start than Bamba. And away they go through maternity, and that gives us time for a breather. Your thoughts, Alan, on the start?
Yeah. Augusto Farfus in the BMW yesterday got a brilliant start, made up lots of places. It's a little bit tougher when you're at the front of the field. He just couldn't find a way through. He got a good start, but a brilliant display now of Mercedes against Porsche in the mountain section.
So then we are looking for who comes out on top as we come towards the finish of the first lap. We're going into police for the first time. A really tricky corner, a very tight corner that's braking uphill and then diving right. And then in these big monstrous cars, remember a few years ago we had an almighty shunt here where the whole field involved Lucas de Grassi ending up upside down, I remember. So always an interesting corner as they come down to the non-overtaking but tightest in motor racing. Melco, hairpin. Everybody slotting through line and stern. And the start is under investigation.
Is it?
Well, I think that's almost a natural in a rolling start, just to see if anybody did jump beforehand, so but I may be wrong.
Augusto Farfus' chance is dwindling a little because now the pace of the Mercedes and the Porsche have shown their class on this opening lap. They've pulled through, free from the BMW in 4th place. The real chance for Farfus was right at the start.
Yep, and Vantor has done a really good job of staying with Marciello in that first lap. Marciello does a 222.3, a 222.9 by Vantor, and Bamba's still very much in the hunt after that poor start. But it's going to be a three-way race for now, unless Farfus can do anything. And of course, we've always got to think of a safety car coming out or somebody crashing into the wall here, because it's almost inevitable when you go through a tunnel-like street circuit like Macau that something will come to an end early. And that could be one of them. Oh, just as I say that, I've almost made it happen. Imperatori gets spun round into the barrier. He keeps going, but he's got damage to the rear of that car, and the Porsche looking a rather second hand there.
And Dries van Toor had a very, very good job of avoiding contact as he makes his way through the field.
Meanwhile, Adelaide Fong again in the wars and in problems as we go on board with the number 42 of Augusto Farfus Jr.
So Augusto twists his way through, frustratingly having dropped back in fourth place. You can see that battle with the Mercedes and the two Porsches. Laurens van Toor would love to win this race for Porsche. He knows what it's like to be on the top step of the podium.
Now, that incident we saw is under investigation at Lisboa with the crash that involved Imperatori. He was the innocent bystander, if you will. And the race continues at the front. And we're keeping an eye on Dries van Toor. He's up to 12th already. Really good start from him. Kelvin van der Linde is dropping down. He's gone to 14th position. Meanwhile, Maro Engel is up to 15th, having started at the back.
And look
from pit lane.
And look once again, Augusto Farfus in that first sector, the very quick part of the circuit. 23.192, quicker than anybody else. Get into the mountain section. It's Mercedes. Marciello goes quickest. Estra takes sector 2 overall quickest. Fastest speed of any on the gear circuit is Augusto Farfus with a 288km/h speed.
Really impressive. Coming into Arlen in the final corner. Bamba staying with Van Toor. The two Porsches locked together in battle for second and third, but Marciello ups the pace again. A 2:18.9 this time. A really quick lap to give himself an 1/8 of a second lead over the two Porsches. Farfus still waiting in the wings after that top speed, but still in fourth place. Another man on the move, 8th place now for Eduardo Mortara. The two Swiss, Imperatori with the broken car, and Mortara up to 8th place. So we're keeping an eye on those trying to side their way through.
Yeah, because Mortara is doing a much better job than the Audi of Dries van Toor. He was compromised there. Here's the meat in the sandwich there. Dries van Toor making up the place. Car number 25, the resplendent blue Audi, gets through before Lisboa.
Well, we knew he'd put on a show after hitting the wall yesterday. And great stuff from Dries. He's up into the top 10 now. The 21-year-old brother of Laurens van Toor, who's had more glory here than his younger brother. But Dries definitely on the tear here through the streets of Macau.
Very talented young driver as well.
No question about it.
Looking back from the BMW, the number 42, the reigning champion, Augusto Farfus. We're looking back at the Audi, the top Audi in 5th place of Christopher Haas.
Yeah, and it's set perfectly for the manufacturers too. We have Mercedes leading, then Porsche second and third, BMW fourth, and that Audi you mentioned in 5th place at the moment. Estra's now up to 6th. Picciarello has done a good job. He's up to 7th place now. Mortara still 8th. Here is Farfus, last year's winner.
Marciello it is that has the fastest lap. He leads the race after 2 laps completed on lap 3 of 18, a 2:18.901. The only car in the 18s, in the 2:18s, is Rafael Marciello.
Interesting enough, Dries van Toor now chasing down Joel Eriksson for a top 10 finish, and he may get him on this lap. We'll keep an eye on that. Here they come. There's Eriksson in front of him.
So Dries van Toor in that shiny blue Audi.
Looks fantastic, doesn't
it? It really does. It's very, very striking in real life. And repaired, as you would expect, back to showroom condition.
A fastest lap this time by Laurens van Toor, a 2:18.4, just a 10th quicker than the leader. And van Toor trying to put as much pressure on as possible. Talking of pressure, here we go. Estra all over Haas. Kevin Estra, the Frenchman, in the Porsche. Jinx to the outside, but really there's not a lot of room to overtake there. You've got to be really confident and force your opponent into a mistake. He knows that, but he hasn't given up, has he?
Really pushing Haas into a mistake, and Haas is really flying the flag for Audi at the moment.
Maro Engel makes up another space.
So
past Van der Linde this time.
Maro Engel has got a mountain to climb, not just sectors 2 and 3 on the gear circuit. The Audi back in 5th place with Christopher Haas still defending under huge pressure from the nimble Porsche of Kevin Estre.
Farfus set the fastest first split at 23.1. Bamber replied with the fastest second split at 41.2. They're all upping the pace now.
I have to say the Porsche has looked fantastic this weekend.
All weekend long, yeah.
It's looked superb.
I've got a feeling that Porsche felt embarrassed by their performance in the last few years and really started preparing themselves specifically for this race. Handpicked their drivers, as they always do, but handpicked the specialists for Macau. And that's why they've got Kevin, and certainly that's why they've got Bamber and Vantor.
Yet again, purple for Augusto Farfus in that quick first sector. 23.1 compares to a 23.5 for Marciello, who leads the race. That's the sector they feared, the BMW. Around the Melco hairpin, BMW, Audi and Porsche. 4th, 5th and 6th.
Mortara also now putting big pressure on in that battle for 7th and 8th as they come out of the Melco. Here we go. Here's the top 3. Bamber starting to get closer to Vantor. This could be a quick lap for Bamber. I think he's up the pace too and reacted well. Let's have a look at the times as they cross the line. A 2:18.4, a 2:18.7. Well, I was right. The fastest lap of the race goes to Earl Bamber, 2:18.2. Bamber on the run, looking to try and get past Laurent Vantor and see if he can have a crack at Marciello, who so far, touch wood, has not put a foot wrong.
It's been perfect so far. The advantage over the line at the end of 4 laps, almost 1 second, 0.98 to be exact. Through Liz
Gap they built, the leaders, on 4th place Farfus. Oh no! Oh no, that's Kevin Estre with 3 wheels on his wagon and hitting the barrier at Mandarin and losing a rear left by the looks of things. Everybody avoiding it, but that's going to bring out a safety car for sure. It's even made the birds flutter up into the trees, and that might have given a bit of a startle to those in the park. There's a nice little park just there.
There is, yeah, beautiful, beautiful park. And parked up is the Porsche, very sadly. Everyone did a great job of avoiding that stricken wheel in the centre of the circuit.
And we'll have a look. Here's another look. Yeah, he hit the barrier heavily, and yeah. It's interesting. You almost feel that they've done a really good job of putting that absorbing fencing there, but it might be extended even further because they're just clipping the exit of it. And that's a big hit at that speed. What do you reckon? They would be doing over 250k through there?
It doesn't bear thinking about, does it?
So, I mean, but that is really fast.
So you think, as the safety car is deployed, you think about that kind of speed and then trying to avoid a stationary wheel in the centre of the circuit. The amount of time it takes for these drivers at the top of their game to make a split decision about where they're going on track. Supreme avoidance.
Here's another look at, yeah, we saw the back of it, and I'll tell you what, the barrier's doing exactly their job. The car literally glued to the side wall and keeping out the waste. Yes, debris flying off, including the wheel that clipped something.
But look, the decision that you have to make for the following cars, where's it going to end up? Where's that wheel going to end up?
Yeah, exactly.
They can see it.
And it's going 250k right now.
And Mortara gets through. You have to pick your spot and stick to it. Predict where the kinetic energy is going to go.
Yeah, no kidding. They've done a really good job of already clearing some of the debris up, and of course the car's going to be a bigger. Driver is out and he's okay. That's always good to see. Obviously a little shaken. You can't have a crash at over 250k and not feel a little bit bruised. Here's the start of the race.
Right.
And let's take a closer look now. Maro Engel got away well. Adley Fong, I think this is where he went wrong. He got a good start, but does he clip the side here? I don't know. We'll find out. But here is your leaders. Farfus tried early on, but couldn't quite make it work. Could he?
He knew that was his time, and he does get brilliant starts. He's known for getting beautiful starts, and It's one thing doing it in the centre of the pack, but when you're in the heady heights of the top couple of rows, it's a little bit more challenging. And unfortunately, the waves for Augusto did not part.
Into Lisboa, and Adelaide Fong, I'm keeping a watchful eye on him. Still can't see any problems for him going through Lisboa. I thought he might have got clipped there, but no. Christopher Haas had a good start. Here's everybody going through and past the troubled car. Meanwhile, Kevin's making his way back up the grid and back to a quick pint at the Lapa Hotel, do you think?
Isn't it?
That's where I'd be going.
Yeah, Augusto really weaving the BMW now from side to side, so to Eduardo Mortara, because they can both sense that this is a good opportunity to potentially make up a place or two on the restart.
So if you've just joined us, this is the SJM Macau GT Cup 2019, the FIA GT World Cup for 2019, and it's very much alive between the manufacturers Mercedes, Porsche, BMW and Audi. All German this year, but the bragging rights to be the World Cup champions.
Eduardo Mortara has had a superlative race so far. From the back of the grid, now in 6th place. Keeping out of trouble, avoiding debris and picking off places.
Here's another look at the shunt one more time. Boom! The tail of the Porsche going through there, and that we saw pretty much at speed, so you could really get a sense there of just how quick it was. But look at that, the wing, rear wing flying off there. But amazingly how good the car stays together after an impact as violent, and that's the only word I can describe it. Here's a look from Mortara. He was behind. Look ahead as far as you can and you will see this accident starting to unfurl. Mortara is blind at this point. He doesn't know the accident's happened. He turns in now. Boom, his first look at it. Oh, what's happened? And look at the reaction. Brilliant. Just speeds on through it. Just let off a little bit.
Eduardo Mortara is a real star around the Macau circuit.
So we head around the Melco under safety. And just to catch your breath, it's Marciello, Vantor, Lauren, Earl Bamber, Augusto Farfus Jr., Christopher Haas. Mortara is up to 6. I repeat.
Amazing.
Mortara is up to 6. Dries Vantor is up to 9. Maro Engel is up to 12. Estri is out, having been involved in a crash of his own causing, I'm afraid. A very fast and quick crash. And Imperatori has got a broken rear wing himself after being pushed into the barriers at Lisboa. And Adelaide Fong, I think, is out completely. He is. He's in the pits.
Under safety car, 6 laps complete, an 18-lap race.
It's just a 10-lap sprint.
And the stakes are high. It's the FIA GT World Cup on offer for driver and manufacturer alike.
Here's Edo. Effortless. 7-time winner. 2 in F3. 4 in GT and 1 in an Audi Cup race for all Audi R8s. There's Farfus, just as relaxed.
He knows that this restart is going to be fairly critical.
Yeah, he's got to get a better restart, as simple as that. And like you say, he is supreme at those starts, but this has got to be a big one.
They won the World Cup here last year at Macau. Emotional scenes as well. Charlie Lamb had already decided it was going to be his last race as the team principal of the Schnitzer squad.
Somewhat fitting if, in many ways. I believe in a little bit of kismet, and that will have given him some. Sadly, we lost him.
It was amazing. Yeah, he was retiring from motorsport. It had been his life, and it was emotional with he and Augusto on the top step of the podium. Emotional at the presentation on Sunday night, where Charlie Lamb got a standing ovation from everybody in the room. It was just the most fitting way to finish.
Now, this is the lap we wanted to see, because this is the lap that Mortara is blind to and where Estri goes off. Here we go. So he hasn't seen any of this yet. And then suddenly smoke. And where do I go? And then he sees it to his left, but I think I might go past as well.
Instant decision. Instant decision. Just incredible.
There's a racer driver for you. Yep, I'm okay. Right, see the smoke, see the car, boom. I'll make up 2 places.
I've done that now. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes, I love that. That was really good.
Just to finish off on the BMW and Charlie Lamb story, no one would have had any way of knowing, of course, that within weeks we were robbed of Charlie, and Charlie passed away. Very emotional for BMW Motorsport, emotional for Augusto Farfus, who was incredibly close to Charlie Lamb. And Charlie Lamb would have been very proud of his race winner, Augusto Farfus, yesterday, making his way up in the qualification race from 12th place into 4th place.
Yeah, and it's right to say that Charlie Lamb was Schnitzer BMW, okay?
Amazing guy, a very gentle man and a lovely man as well, and much missed.
So we await the resumption of this GT race to go back to full speed. But right now they are taking Kevin Estra's car away and clearing up the rest of the debut. But it's Marciello who leads. This is going to be a tantalising restart, isn't it? In many ways.
Heat into the tyres, absolutely critical behind the slow pace of the safety car to allow the course workers, the marshals, to clear the track and get it ready to race once again. Word should also go to the job done by the team inside the safety car, BMW, the official vehicle of the Macau Grand Prix. And the stakes are high for the safety car driver and the observer on board to keep the field at a reasonable pace. And now they're instructed by race control to get up to full speed.
Which can only mean that we are back to go racing again. Now, the 2 Porsches have been in 2nd and 3rd throughout this race. They've not really had a chance to overtake Marciello, but that chance will come very soon. And you have to think that if Porsche want to take victory in this race, they've got to get at least one of those cars in front of him. If they want to control the race, they're going to need both. But I think it only needs Vantor to get alongside on the inside at the corner. And then he'll have a chance. And I say the inside because it's just no way round at the outside, is it?
Just enjoying the noise of these cars. Beautiful. And they all sound different as well. All 4 manufacturers sound different.
Echoes round the buildings, I can assure you. So, the safety car brings them up Moorish Hill. Another one of the tighter corners on the track. Got to get a good restart. I haven't counted out both Mortara and Haas too. Haas has looked good in the Audi. He's leading the way for Audi at the moment. They only need something to go wrong with this battle at the front and he will sneak through. So too Farfus. We've seen it before. Farfus, we know, can do brilliant restarts. Can he do one now? Because he needs one. Here we go. Marciello slows it all down. Look at Mortara in the background.
Yeah, I think he's one to watch as well on this restart.
So here we go with Farfus's restart. Key here. Everybody starting to accelerate up. Marciello leads them through. Vantor stuck to him like glue. Look at Farfus. He's right there. Farfus has got to go well here, and he's got the return to racing that he wanted here, because that was a great restart from the Schnitzer BMW of Farfus. He's coming, and he's coming fast. Bamber will try to... Into the Mandarin they go.
into third place as well. So he ticks off one of the Porsches. Augusto Farfus onto the podium.
And Farfus gets one. And now Haas is going after the next one. Oh, no! And that could have been a big moment. And Vantor gets past Farfus and into the wall. And two cars parked up. And a yellow flag turn 3, no surprise, but that was dynamic stuff from Vantor to get past Farfus.
So briefly we had the BMW on the podium, and then the Porsche into Lisboa, takes the place back.
He's got it out, nicely done.
That was supreme by the Porsche.
Yeah, how he held on to that, I'll never know.
Absolutely supreme.
Here's a look. Now, does he touch? Almost, but look at Bamber.
Whew, just slips through.
Amazing stuff.
That was incredibly exciting as a restart.
Yeah.
That was the BMW's chance, you know.
And yeah, unfortunately, brilliant stuff. Now, looking back to Christopher Haas on the number 5. Oh, pushing him round at Donna Maria. Meanwhile, Mortara still 6. Here's your leaders, 1, 2, and 3.
This is not the section that the BMW excels at, and the Audi therefore right on the tail of Augusto.
We'll stay with Mortara now as he heads down the hill chasing Christopher Haas of Belgium. The Swiss driver. Now the leaders through Fisherman's. And let's take a look at the lap times this time as they come to complete this lap, because it'll give us an indication of how this battle for first place is starting to heat up again. A penalty, drive-through penalty for car 10, a jump start, and that's Christopher Wirtz.
So, yeah, Charles Wirtz.
Sorry, Charles Wirtz.
Yeah, he'll have a drive-through penalty.
And all the top 3 on the 221s, Marciello a 221.2, a 221.4 from Lantor, Bamber a 221.7.
It's back to how it was before the safety car.
Exactly.
It's Marciello, who we haven't spoken that much about because he has been supreme at the front with 2 Porsches really nipping at his heels. What can they do? Not very much so far.
Meanwhile, Van der Linde gets through. Nicely overdone. No, nice overtake, excuse me.
Marciello it is that leads. Lawrence Vantour, El Bamber, 2nd and 3rd in Porsches. Threading their way up through the hilly, tight, twisty mountain section. 2 Porsches going through almost as one. Those 2 have been so matched this weekend, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have. Well, and I think they're the 2 best Porsche drivers in the world right now. And I don't mean that, especially on street circuits. There's no question in my mind. And their records speak for themselves here. Vantor is a 2-time winner, and he's been on the podium every time he hasn't won. And as for Bamber, well, once he gets the right car, he is sublime right here.
But Marciello still leads the field.
Let's not give anything away from, you know, we're talking about how good the Porsche drivers are. How good is Marciello's weekend full stop here?
Seemingly effortless, the way he makes it look.
And that Mercedes looks so much bigger, doesn't it? Maybe it's it's
livery.
Well, no, it's not so much the livery, it's the front end of it. It's so long.
It's long.
And so almost cumbersome, but that's not the right word. It's glorious to watch. Here's another look at the restart, and Farfus had the chance to go on board with him here.
Kept right on the tail of the Porsches. That was exactly what he had to do. This is his opportunity to get a podium position, potentially. Pulls out, goes alongside, and the power of the BMW slips in front, but it wasn't to be for too long. Briefly, the Schnitzer BMW into a podium position, but then Porsche fights back.
Yeah, it was an interesting, wasn't it? Very interesting Lisboa corner. So then, still plenty to come from this race, and it's far from over as Marciello leads the way. The field, though, starting to spread out now, and 3rd place Bamber losing time, without a doubt, on the leaders. I wonder if there's any damage to the car after that unbelievable escape. certainly not as quick in this last few laps. We'll see, as Farfus now up in the game a little bit, Haas going with him, and Mortara not far behind. But look at Dries Van Toor. Van Toor making a family party, but he's right up there, is Van Toor, and look who's behind him.
He's on the back of Jarl Eriksson in the BMW, and behind him, as you point out, is Maro Engel, having started in the pit lane, up to 9th place now in the Mercedes. Mortara still there in 6th place behind the Audi. There he is. Mortara in the green machine, Haas in the yellow Audi, 5th and 6th places respectively.
Yeah, this is a good battle between them. And a good battle for midfield honours, if you will. And to say that Dries Van Toor has come from the back, as has Maro Engel, they're doing a superb job with two very different machines.
Earl Bamber just put in the fastest overall in Sector 2. That's the first part of the mountain section. 41.218 compares to a 41.677 for Marciello on this lap.
Bamber's just up the pace in the second sector. He's just in the fastest of the race to try to get himself back into contention with the leaders. He lost a little bit of pace there. A lot to do with the fact that he had to do some shenanigans just to stay in the race. They all come through Donna Maria.
Jarl Eriksson leading that multi-mark four-car train as they head through the Melco hairpin. Jarl Eriksson, BMW, Dries Van Toor in Audi.
And here's the damage, unfortunately, to the Mercedes that hit the tyre wall at T3. That is Lisboa, the famous Lisboa. Here they come again.
Top 3 as yesterday, so evenly matched. They're still absolutely as a trio, the Mercedes and the two Porsches.
Well, Bamber has reacted well. He's just done the fastest lap of the race to get back into this, a 2:18.090, and he's very much alive again. Thought he was going to drift away. He was a long way back before, but now as they go through Mandarin again, Bamber has upped the pace. He was 8/10 quicker than his teammate in that last lap to put himself right where he is there behind Laurent Van Toor.
So through Lisboa, still being headed by a faultless Raffaele Marciello this weekend. Mercedes number 999. Hasn't put a wheel wrong.
Well, he hasn't needed to call emergency just yet because he's been absolutely superb.
Laurens Van Toor, Earl Bamber in the chasing pack. Both in Porsches.
Meanwhile, it's starting to get a little pensive on the pit wall lane, and as they watch the monitors in the pit lane, we watch on with them.
That was the Rover Racing team down there, looking on to 2nd and 3rd places in the Porsches. Laurens Van Toor ahead of Earl Bamber.
I tell you what, it's amazing how that Mercedes just glides through the back end of this circuit. You expect it in a straight line to be a missile, but its agility compared to the Porsches is really stunning, to be honest. The chassis of that Mercedes belies its size.
These are all wonderful cars, and they all have different strengths around the gear circuit, and it's amazing to watch that over the course of a lap, it all evens out. And you've got the top 3 all together.
It's funny, I talked to Absolute Racing when they were racing Bentleys, and I said, how do you get this big monster of a car to be so agile? And he said, you'd be surprised. The chassis is really nimble, and it's almost an optical illusion because the car itself turns on a dime. And I was talking to Adderley Fong about it because he was racing that Bentley back then. Christopher Haas, all over Farfus. As they come down towards the final corner. Haas looking to the inside, and there's no room there.
12 laps complete now, 18-lap race for the FIA GT World Cup, the SJM Macau GT Cup.
And these 4 cars praying for something to go wrong at the front, and never say never, because if that does happen, they will be ready. And here come the leaders, and look at that. Marciello has definitely sprung one on them. He's gone a 2:18.3 and pulled it away.
He's made the break across the line at the end of 12 laps. Just over 1 second between himself and Laurens Van Toor in 2nd place.
And that was a major leap forward in that last lap. And the question is now, can they maintain Can he maintain that, and can they catch up? It could need another safety car for them to get closer, but you never know. This is where the Porsches, for me, is strong, is in this section. Certainly Bamber in this Sector 2, which ends midway through the Solitude S's. And then Sector 3 at the end of the Melco.
Marciello is on the march on this lap as well. He's putting in personal best first sector, personal best second sector, and then Bamber responds.
Yeah, I'm going to say Bamber's just been listening to the commentary, because he's just done exactly what I said he would do, which is gone the fastest in Sector 2, a 41.1, and that was 0.2 quicker than Marciello, and that may just close the gap now again.
It's Mortara gone as far as he can in 6th place in the Mercedes, the recovery drive for Mortara.
Here we go. Now, what happens here? And as we replay here, you can see that the Porsche is effectively switching and moving over to allow Bamber to have a go. So really interesting tactics. He says, well, I can't have him, you have him. So through goes Bamber, and now effectively Laurent Vanthoor is saying, hey, we both work for the same manufacturer. I can't stop Marciello. See if you can.
Between the two of them, the Porsche drivers on this lap, they've each got an overall quickest sector, with Bamber quickest in Sector 2, with Vanthoor in 3rd place, quickest in Sector 3, and then Bamber quickest overall for the best lap of the race so far, 2:17.541.
He's reacted well to the chance given by Vanthoor and has upped the pace to 2/10 quicker than Marciello, and he's got 5 laps to get within touching distance. That was a smart move by Laurent Vanthoor, a mature move by a racing driver who's seen glory here, but I don't think anybody's budging in this group, do you?
Augusto Farfus has got the edge on the Audi as they run down.
Mortara has got past Ericsson and now goes after Haas. We're on board with him now as he heads up the hill. Like you say, that Porsche, that Mercedes is planted, isn't it? Look at him go, how smooth it is. It's only when you ride on board with Mortara that you see what Marciello is probably also experiencing. It just seems like he's not fighting it anywhere. Smooth as you like, it's almost stuck to the ground.
Show of class really from Mortara, making up places to get all the way through to 6th place.
No question about it.
Engel is up in 9th place, can't do anything about Dries Vanthoor, because Dries Vanthoor in turn can't do anything about the BMW of Joel Eriksson in front in 7th.
Bamber has done it again. He's done another brilliant second sector of 41.006, another 2/10, almost 3/10 quicker than the leader, and that's where he's making the time up, Bamber. He's making it up in the mountain section as we expected, and look how close he is now. But he needs to be closer on the exit of Arben if he's going to challenge Marciello for the win. He's certainly got enough time. If he keeps taking 2/10 here and 2/10 there and staying with him at least within a few lengths of Marciello, he's going to have a crack at the end of the race. There's enough laps left. Vanthoor is trying to stay honest with it. Last time out, 2:17.5 from Bamber. We'll watch them as they come through again.
The gap was 1.3 seconds. What's it going to be at the end of lap number 14 with 4 laps to go? It is 0.9 of a second.
Come down again and another fastest lap by Bamber. 2:17.248 this time.
Less than 1 second between the Mercedes and the Porsche. Bamber is closing, ever closing on the back of Raffaele Marciello. And don't forget, of course, that the Porsche very nimble in the second and third sectors of the circuit. So 14 laps are complete. Fastest lap of the race has gone the way of Earl Bamber in car number 98. But it's the Mercedes of Raffaele Marciello who continues to lead.
What a race this has turned out to be, and Farfus has just put in the first sector.
First sector again.
Again. No surprise, and this is exactly what we wanted. And as we head down now to the closing stages of this race. Coming through, Farfus and Haas. There's Mortara, there's Farfus out of maternity.
Personal best.
Yeah, on a personal best lap, and so he's reacted well to Bamba's pressure by going quicker than the Kiwi.
He's up the game. Sector 1, personal best. Sector 2, personal best for Marciello.
But you can see how hard he's having to push to do that. Oh, debris on track there, hitting Bamba's car, but doesn't seem to have affected him. But this is a real cat and mouse game between these two very famous marques. The original Mercedes against the most famous name in sports car racing and endurance racing, Porsche. They've won it all. Mercedes stayed out of racing for a long time, and of course they'll be racing for victory in Brazil in a few hours' time in Formula One, but they're just as competitive in GT racing too. Check this out. How close does Bamba go to the wall? I've got a feeling he might hit this. Check it out, through police. Oh, Earl loses a mirror. He doesn't need that. It's a flesh wound. Go on, Earl, you don't use them anyway.
What a wonderful souvenir for one of the course workers.
What a wonderful sight. What a great replay. That just shows you how hard he's pushing. Look, he's lightened it up a little.
Yeah.
He's lost at least maybe half a pound.
Yeah, that upsets my symmetry. The Porsche is so beautiful and it's all gone wrong now.
No, that's Bamba. He'll take the other one off on the next lap. You watch. So, last time out, Marciello did a 2:17.3. The gap's gone back up from 0.9 to 1.4. So, sadly, a little bit slower last time out. Look at this. Farfus, Haas, Mortara, and Joel Eriksson all going at it. The lights are on. Vantor's involved as well. He's just done the fastest first split to 25. Very much in the hunt here, trying to get round San Francisco. And Dries Vantor is determined to go through.
Oh, what a wonderful view back from the Mercedes of Eduardo Mortara. The BMW heading the train with Dries Vantor, Mara Engel just behind as they thread their way through this incredibly tight and demanding section of the circuit. Fantastic shot.
Oh, wonderful pictures. I think Marciello's cracking this, you know.
Yeah.
He's doing a really good job.
Extended the gap to 1.4 at the end of the last lap.
The only way Bamba can stay with him is to take risks he really shouldn't take, because he almost took himself out on that last lap of police. Even that, by his standards, was very, very tight. And he only lost a wing mirror, but he lost time, more importantly. And unless he can catch up in this lap, it's starting to look like a Mercedes victory yet again at the mighty Macau.
What about Marciello and their respective sector times? Well, personal best in sector 3 just now by Earl Bamba, 44.68 compared to a 44.74 for Marciello. So after losing the wing mirror and maybe a tenth or two on that lap, Bamba is back on it, but he's getting increasingly fewer laps with which to do anything about the race leader. Marciello has controlled this, controlled it beautifully. Briefly, we've got somebody else going quickest. Bamba's just put in the fastest lap of the race.
2:17.1.
Wow. So El Bamba in his pursuit of the leader, Rafael Marciello, at 2:17.182. And the gap, 1.1 seconds at the end of that lap. This lap, and one more to go in the World Cup.
Unbelievable race so far. It's been this way throughout it, and we've had plenty of drama. And we've had a restart, a safety car restart, which Farfus didn't jump on, almost got into third, but then Bamba and Vantor bounced back. This battle has gone all the way through. Dries Vantor and Maro Engel have done a brilliant job. So too has Mortara as they head through Lisboa to catch up in the midfield, and that's been a superb matchup for the four of them throughout this race. And while we say that, it's certainly not over.
This great view back to the battle being headed by Joel Eriksson for 7th place on this, the 17th lap out of 18. Looking back from the master, Eduardo Mortara. It's had a difficult race starting from the back of the grid. but he's up to the job.
Now, just how close is Bamba? He just did a second fastest split again, something he's done before. A yellow flag out at turn 2. That won't affect these two at the moment, but if it stays yellow and there's a problem and a car stuck in the
one, actually. It's turn 1.
Oh, turn 1.
That's an unusual one.
Let's have a look out the window.
That's an unusual one.
Yeah. Well, we'll soon find out because they're coming that way. We're coming down to the closing stages of this one. Raffaele Marciello, the Italian, has done a superb job. And you know what? This would mean so much to Raffaele's year because he's had a good year, but he hasn't had a stellar year. This is his 3rd visit to Macau in GTs. His best result, a 9th place last year. But now he's stretching his legs. And as we head on to the final lap, no problems at turn 1 for either racer. Bamba's got one chance, but I can't see it happening personally.
0.7 of a second behind. That's the closest he's been for many a lap to the back of the Mercedes of Marciello. But it's one thing to close up, it's another thing to pass, and at Macau it can prove very, very tricky indeed. Bamba's not close enough. It's the last lap.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do it. And like I said, Marciello's had a good season. He was 4th in the GT World Challenge in Europe for the Blancpain GT Series. In the 24 Hours of Nürburgring, he got a podium there, but that was a 3rd place. What he wanted was a 1st. And here he comes to represent the mark that is Mercedes.
He was right on the tail of Marciello, wasn't he?
Yeah, look at this. Dries Van Toor still looking for a way past, and so Maro Engel.
They've all closed up, haven't they?
Absolutely. The last lap, you got it.
And Bamba right on the tail of the Mercedes as well. He knows this is the final opportunity, but will the opportunity be there?
I don't think so, unless Marciello makes a mistake. I don't think Bamba's going to be able to do anything enough to stop Mercedes from taking yet another victory here at Macau. Into police, time running out. Bamba's kept him honest, got the chance when Van Toor, and you wonder now whether Van Toor should have let him past earlier. Just a question mark. That said, Van Toor was putting in similar time, so there was no reason to. And of course, no one could have predicted the battle whereby... Oh, and he hits him! He hits him and almost takes him out! Bamba makes a mistake! He did not intend to take Marciello out of the race, but he does intend to get past. And there will be just some discussion, I'm sure, after that. But here comes Bamba, because the race is still on. But that was a big clatter from behind as Bamba goes for victory. One more corner to go, and Earl Bamba just got desperate. But in the end, Marciello, despite being hit from behind, is going to come round the last corner, and it's going to be Mercurial Marciello with a Mercedes win at mighty Macau. What a way to finish that race, and frankly, that was a mistake from Bamba.
Well, we couldn't have predicted that.
No.
Goodness me.
A rare mistake under braking by Bamba. He will be very apologetic because there wasn't any intention, I don't think, for him to try to nerf him out of the way, and the stewards would have totally jumped in. But Group M Racing do it. And disappointment you can see for Porsche, but of course they realise they've been part of a very, very good motor race. Hats off to Marciello. He got lucky there. I tell you what, he could have got turned around, and that could have stopped the whole race.
Wow. Here comes Mortara to enjoy the World Cup moment for the manufacturers alongside the race winner, Raffaele Marciello.
So here we go. Let's have a look at this again, because Marciello comes in, and here comes Bamba. He brakes. And I think Marciello was a little slower than Bamba was expecting, maybe a little slower than before, and Bamba wasn't expecting him to be. And then we come down. And here we come to the end, and you'll see Bamba also braking at the line. And there's also an investigation.
Well, I didn't fully see it. It's gone from the screen now. So 42.91.
Now watch Bamba here. He slows right down to let Vantor come along and take the second place.
Ooh.
Interesting.
So the investigation is Augusto Farfus, Joel Eriksson, 2 BMWs, and Mauro Engel for possible disrespect of yellow flag procedures.
Well, they were in such a battle, I'd forgive them, to be honest. But that was mighty.
What a World Cup.
Yeah.
Goodness me.
Well, it didn't need to go to penalties, did it?
And well, I don't know, there's an investigation.
It may go to penalties yet.
So I think Marciello is safe and secure because he has been too perfect this weekend.
Yeah, I'm going to say, talk about a guy who really has not done anything wrong all weekend long. That was excellent.
Supreme. The celebrations of winning a World Cup in Macau.
And the manufacturer that brought the car to us is continuing in 2019 to be a dominant force in world sports cars. Fantastic stuff. Here's a check on the result then after the final race for the GTs. Marciello, Vantor and Bamba. That's how it finished. Farfus Jr. taking 4th place, whilst his winner Haas, Mortara, Eriksson, Dries Vantor, Mauro Engel, Kelvin van der Linde in 10th position. Then Bruins, Wirtz, Chen, Piccarello in 14th position, Estri and Imperatori and Adley Fong not finishing 3 laps down, unfortunately, for the man from Hong Kong. But it was a race that had everything. You can't deny that. Really good stuff and well worth the wait. Had a little bit of a wait yesterday before the start, but when they got underway, Marciello was again brilliant. And I think we've been given a true display of GT's excellence in the last few days. Well, the 66 Macau Grand Prix is certainly living up to its billing. Here comes Vantor's car. There's Bamba's car, number 98, going into Parc Fermé. Be interesting to hear what is said. Like I said, I know Earl pretty well, and he's not a dirty driver, and he certainly isn't somebody who would try to knock somebody out of a race that way. I think he'll be very apologetic, although he did try his hardest to win the race. Don't think he intended to hit the back. I think actually, like I said, when I saw the replay, Raphael, well, don't hurt that beautiful car. I think that's a happy Italian, don't you?
So, just shows you how much it means, doesn't it? As victory at Macau can be so rewarding.
Well, he's won plenty of GT races, but this is going to be right up there. There's no question about it. Under the pressure that he was under, and having to do it over 2 days and having to do it round a street circuit, there isn't any harder way of winning a motor race. Well done. And well done to Group M as well. They've got a big history of success around the world, and that will be right up there as well. Did a quick interview with Marciello on Thursday, and you know, he was steady as you go and just very nonchalant, but quietly confident that that it would be a battle against the Porsches. That was identified early on. I think after free practice 1, we knew that the battle was going to be between Mercedes and Audi.
He soaked up the pressure. He was under huge pressure, and throughout the race, the Porsches, if it wasn't Lawrence Vantor, it was Earl Bamber. Both of them there all the time on the back of the Mercedes. Victorious at Macau. And we'll hopefully get to hear from the drivers as well.
Quick look at the highlights then from our GT finale. Yes, ducks to water, these boys. And Adelaide Fong, thumbs up from him. Likewise, Kevin Estrie, as everybody got ready. Plenty of fans out, including the ones with the drivers. But as we got to the start, it was all Marciello, chased hard by the Porsches, as it was all race long. Farfus didn't get the start he wanted, but did slot into 4th place. A few drivers going wide, but keeping it high and mighty, and into the race. And then we settled down with Bamber chasing hard on Marciello. A few comings together, including the Swissman losing out at Lisboa and losing a rear wing. Then a big crash. Kevin Estrie smashes his way into the Mandarin corner and out of the race he goes. At the restart, Farfus, look at this, up to 3rd place. Another good restart by the Brazilian. And a little moment there. And back comes the Porsche, sneakily, loved it. Into the barriers goes Wirtz and Imperatori. But then at the front, the Porsches trying to build on that lead and trying to stay with Mr. Marciello. Bamber given the choice to go and chase he did, losing wind mirrors, smashing into the back of the Mercedes. But Marciello wasn't having any of it. Across the line came the Italian for another brilliant win by Mercedes-Benz. Laurent Vanthoor gifted 2nd, and Bamber will settle for 3rd. So we await the podium now, as everybody I think is out of their cars. No further action between 42.91 and 8.88, and that was because of yellow flag.
Yellow flag, possible yellow flag disrespect.
Fair enough.
It was nice to have Vanthoor second for a long time, because that
actually at the end the BMW actually helped us.
Yeah.
If anything else.
Yeah, kept everybody else back.
You guys quite busy.
Just listening in here, we're getting some good chat.
I feel wrong eavesdropping.
No, I don't. I love it. This is my favourite part, because what he just summed up the race. It was good for us to have the BMW go up to 3rd, and maybe Vanthoor should have let Bamber go earlier, and that was what they were saying, because effectively both the combination of Farfus getting 3rd at the restart and Vanthoor maybe spending a little too long before he let Bamber go for it, gave Bamber fewer laps anyway to chase down Marciello, and that was the story of the race. I love it when we actually hear from the teams about, you know, almost verifying what we thought was the case. But of course, it's all talk.
It is.
No one can be the wiser as to what could happen, will happen, but there's always plenty to talk about. So how's your weekend going?
It's not bad.
It's been a good day, isn't it?
Not bad.
Not bad. I've never actually seen you on the ceiling before.
No, we've been close a couple of times. But then again, we do have the Grand Prix to look forward to.
Oh, just that little affair. That won't disappoint. Yeah, it's a beautiful sight. I'd like to see the back of it, see how badly it was clattered. I was going to finish my sentence. When we saw the replay, I got the feeling that Bamber had done what he'd always done, but to a certain extent, Marciello had slowed mid-corner, or was slower mid-corner than he had been on previous laps, and it caught Bamber out. As you can see, it was a tiny tap, nothing much to it, really.
There it is.
Yeah, that's it there. And it really didn't make any difference. It looked more dramatic, perhaps, than you know, but it was at the time, last lap, and you think, whoa, what's going on?
Well, it was just a kiss after all.
Yeah, it was.
Just a kiss.
It was just a German kiss to manufacturer to manufacturer.
Right, then we're ready with the podium for
Here
the
comes
SJM Macau
Ian
GT Cup
Titchmarsh
FIA
with the
GT
podium.
World Cup. First of all, can I ask to come forward onto the podium the second runner-up, Earl Bamber. Yeah, thanks very much, Earl. In third place, second runner-up. The first runner-up, Laurens Vanthoor. Thanks, Laurens. And the winner of the SJM Macau GT Cup, FIA GT World Cup, Raffaele Marciello. Driving Mercedes, could also ask please the winning manufacturer representative, Stefan Vendel, head of Mercedes AMG Motorsport Customer Racing, to join the podium. And now the national anthem of the winning driver. And now the national anthem of the winning manufacturer. Could I now ask, please, the presentations to be made, first of all, to the second runner-up, the third place finisher, by Mr. Timothy Falk, Director of SJM, to make the presentation to Earl Bamber. Congratulations, Earl Bamber, and the trophy for finishing third place, and the photograph opportunity. And yes, you can stay on the podium to be joined by Ms. Angela Leong, the Managing Director and Chief Administrative Officer of SJM, to present the trophy to Lawrence Van Tor, the second place finisher. Well done to Lawrence for second place. And now to present the trophy to the winner, could I ask please Ms. Daisy Ho, Chairman of the Board of Directors of SJM, to come onto the podium to present the laurel and the trophy to the winner of the 2019 SJM Macau GT Cup, Raffaele Marciello. And if you could all cluster together for the photograph, perhaps the drivers, all three of them on the top of the podium, if there's space. Thank you very much. So, if the drivers could stay on the podium, you get your champagne shortly, but there's more trophies to be presented. So the next one is the FIA GT World Cup for drivers, a trophy presented by the FIA, and is going to be presented by Mr. Frédéric Bertrand, the FIA Circuit Championships Director, to be presented to Raffaele Marciello, which I think deserves a round of applause. I know you've applauded Raffaele already, but please stay with us, Monsieur Bertrand, because we have another trophy for you to present, and that is the winning manufacturer trophy, the FIA GT World Cup for the winning manufacturer, presented to Stefan Vendel, the head of Mercedes AMG Motorsport Customer Racing. And stay for a photograph, please, sir. Thank you very much. Right, got the photographs there. Thank you. Thank you. One more trophy to present before we get to the champagne. This is the FIA GT World Cup for winning manufacturers, a trophy presented by the Macau GP Organising Committee, and that's going to be presented by Mr. Charles Lowe, the chairman of the Automobile General Association of Macau, China. and that's going to be presented to Stefan Wendell. Quite a hefty trophy, that. And Mr. Lowe, if you can stand in the middle of the podium for the photograph. Happy to stand there. Right, well, you can put your trophies down because we're now about to get the champagne. So the champagne, their eyes light up at the prospect of covering each other with the fizzy stuff. You can see it's not the first time that they have been on the podium in various parts of the world. Right. Oh. Stefan Wendell is, now have you done? Can I have a quick word, please, beginning with, catch up with the Porsche drivers in a moment, but for Mercedes, Raffaele, a hot race, but a very satisfying race. Well done.
Yeah, after 5 years of coming, after triple position, finally I did it. I was always, really close to make it, but you know, Macau is really difficult. So I mean, to win it this year in GT, where the result best driver in GT, it's incredible. I have to thank Group M, MG, and just amazing. I'm really happy.
And of course, Earl never gave up pressing you, did he? It was Lawrence to begin with, then Earl took over, and they kept the pressure on all the way through, including a little tap at the hairpin, I think, on the last lap.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Macau is always really hard to overtake, so I knew it after the start. I had everything in my pocket. Yeah, the touch in Tamelco, I was quite surprised because it's yellow flag, so it means I was also able to stop. You shouldn't touch me there, so I mean,
I think it was just a mistake, wasn't it? It wasn't deliberate.
Yeah, but it's really, you know, for me it's really dangerous because it's yellow flag, so it means it can happen something, but I'm really happy for my victory. I just want to celebrate with my mechanics and with MG.
Well done. Congratulations, you say, after years of coming to Macau, you've done it at last, because Formula 3 wasn't so good for you, was it?
Yeah, I mean, Formula 3 with the slipstream is really tricky, but yeah, I was on pole also there, so it means I always had the speed, but you know, for the final step is always difficult, and finally we did it.
Now you've got to start catching up Eduardo Matura's number of wins here.
Yeah, it's the king of Macau, and I don't look the others so much. I just want to come here and have fun in this amazing track. But he's Edo and I'm Raffaele, so I'm happy for what he did, but I just look for myself.
Very well done. Congratulations, Raffaele. Now, we'll talk to the guy who came second, but do I have to sit down? I stand up, Lawrence. First of all, you were the one challenging Raffaele, and then you handed over to Earl, and he handed you the place back on the last part of the last lap.
Yeah, I think pre-race we agreed that a Porsche has to win.
Well, that's not bad since you drive for them.
Yeah, well, we were 2 against 1, so we tried to play our cards, and I had a better start, so I tried in the beginning, then I gave it a good try after the restart, even with a bit of rubbing, but couldn't get by. And I know Earl was quick from the whole weekend, and I made a mistake, so we decided to swap and let him have a try. I lost a bit the pace after that. Earl gave it a good try in the end as well, but it didn't work out. So we both did our best. We both tried what we could, but it wasn't possible today. So
what you didn't see, although he got back in front of you, Earl, let's join the conversation, Earl, because what was really impressive was the way you retrieved third place going into Lisboa. That was a mighty manoeuvre, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we, like Lawrence said, he got a really good start and get the best of starts. So yeah, he was strong at the start of the race. Then actually I had a better run than him. He sort of made a mistake on the restart, and but I had to lift and won with the aero, and then Farfus got by me, but he outbraked himself and managed to dive back up in Lisboa, and then the fight sort of continued, and then we had a great car, we had a fast car. We just couldn't quite have enough to get Raffaele. He did a fantastic race. He made absolutely no mistakes. I tried on the last lap. I tried everything that we could, but you know, top job. He did a great job all weekend.
But that tap of the hairpin, that wasn't deliberate, was it?
No, I mean, I tried it. I knew that if we could upset him out of the hairpin, we could get close in the last 2 corners. So you have to try, and you know, we don't come here to come second. We come here to try win, and you know, this year the car was great. It was great to have the new car, but it's our first year. It's their, well, it must be 5th or 6th year with that car, so we'll definitely work hard and come back here next year and try win it for Porsche.
Well, it's good to see you back. Well done. Congratulations, Earl. And the two of you, of course, have been racing together in America this year.
Yeah, I think it's the only race in the whole year which we don't share a car. So you could see we still kind of share a car, still work together.
I was wondering whether you're going to try and stage a dead heat.
Sorry?
Whether you were going to try and stage a dead heat between the two of you.
No, it's you know, we get along really well, and we, like I said, we work the whole year together. Even here, for sure, we're racers, so we want to win. But we tried both to give each other a shot, and hasn't been like that, but we'll be back next year.
Well, second, third, you're on the podium. It's great to see you back at Macau, and I'm sure we'll see you next year as well.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure that's a positive yes, and Earl, well done. And Raffaele, I'm afraid you've got to go to the press conference now, but it's good to see you here. And, of course, Lawrence Vant also raced in Formula 3 here before he took up GT racing. Right, you've got one of this stuff.
So we'll leave Ian to continue his conversation with the boys and the celebrations on the podium. Fantastic stuff, but congrats. Are the World Cup champions of 2019.